happy that the big men are starting to dominate the league again, because for a minute they were going away, Rachel. And so when you look at what Jokic is doing, this is a guy that is not athletic. This is a guy that don't run fast, don't move quick, but plays the pace of his game and gets the job done. And in my opinion, he's arguably one of the greatest skilled bigs to ever play the game. Greg Popovich said he's the modern-day Larry Bird, and guess what? He told no lies.
It's a little exhausting to do the MVP update day after day after day, but even forget last game. Nikola Jokic right now is the MVP of this season. And yeah, last night did matter. They blew out basically a team that was on an 11-game winning streak that looked unbeatable. And what was amazing about that game, if you watched it, it looked so easy. I mean, he just put up the most effortless 35-point half I think I've ever seen. Raining jump shots, little hook shots. Rudy Gobert's on me. Okay, fake. Hook shot goes in. It was so easy for him to dominate a team that had been on fire. And he's been, I think he's the best passing big man in the history of the league, period. And I think he is the MVP right now. But this is going to be one of those seasons, I hope, like 2017 when Russ won, when we have like a nice 3, 4-man, 5-man MVP race. I think it's going to get frothy.
But go ahead, Perk.
Hold on, Zach, but don't you just discount Joel Embiid right now, because he has the Philadelphia 76ers
no, he's in it.
At an elite level. And by the way, just a couple of weeks ago, he put up a 40-plus point night too now. So Jokic is just behind him right now and doing it at a later time. But we're not going to just say that Jokic is the clear cut, Zach Lowe, all right? We're not going to start that today.
It's going to be a great race, Perk. It's going to be a great race with lots of ups and downs. But right now, if you ask me to vote, if I had to fill out my ballot now, I'm putting Jokic 1. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because guess what? We don't want you to vote, because you voted for Giannis last year when Rachel and I was trying to tell you.
No. I voted for Giannis as well. I voted for Giannis as well, Perk. And it was close, but I will say, as I've said a million times, it is an award that right now rewards stats in a regular season. Giannis had historic stats, but it is time to change the MVP. I got to get that in one more time, because, Perk, I am with you on that. It needs to be more about who the best player in the league is, and we need a separate award for best stats for this season. Now that we've just put all of that to bed and we've solved everyone's problems, it is time for, oh yes, I can hear it. It's time for Make or Miss.
Make or Miss League.
It's a make or miss league.
Make. Miss.
It's a make or miss league.
I've heard that somewhere before. Make contact, Magic Raptors. Watch Aaron Gordon and Kyle Lowry. So Lowry takes a shot, next trip down. Gordon gives him the little crack back block.
Oh!
Now, remember, these two got into it in the bubble. This was back in August. So are we going back to 90s basketball, Perk, where we got some retribution here and there?
Well, you know, I always like a little beef and a little chitter-chatter here and there, but I think it's time for us to see a little Nate Robinson and Jake Paul little boxing expedition. Let's get it together. Let's set it up. Aaron Gordon and Kyle Lowry. I know they're in different weight classes, but hey, if they got this much beef and they keep carrying on, then it's time for them to put the boxing gloves on, Rachel.
This matchup's Kawhi going baseline. And look at this. He's going to pack it in over R.J. Barrett. Zach, could R.J. have done anything differently?
Don't give even an inch on the baseline and pray. But I will say, R.J. Barrett defended Kawhi decently in that game.
Yes.
And R.J. Barrett's coming along. The defense, the playmaking, he's been a really stout defender for them. But on that play, you give Kawhi an inch and it's done. Just get out of his way or pray to the basketball gods.
I think it's Kawhi, right, Perk?
Yeah, it is. We just call that daddy ball. That's daddy ball. It's nothing that he could do besides just go get in the weight room the next morning.
Make repetition. Let's move on to Boston. Fourth quarter, LeBron getting Tice on the switch and jab steps him to death. How many jabs do you count here, Perk? 1, 2, 3,
See?
4, 5, 6.
Rachel, that's drill work right there. That's when you be jabbing at the cone and you jabbing right, jabbing left, and just getting the separation. LeBron James knew the whole time that he was going 5 for 3. He just wanted to play with Daniel Tice to get his rhythm.
5 with 10 seconds to go, the same position that more than 23,000 times teams had gone on to win it. Except once again, the math flew out the window. First, it was Beal sprinting up court for this 3. Just money. Then when Joe Harris tries to inbound, doesn't go well. KD goes to a different spot than Harris is expecting. Garrison Matthews comes up with a steal out to Westbrook, who hits another 3 with 4.3 on the clock. Washington then goes on to win a game that Coach Scott Brooks called, quote, the craziest finish he's seen in his 28 years in the NBA. Here were the Nets afterward.
We had that game. It should have been ours. So, we just look at ourselves in the mirror and just see where we can correct as individuals and as a group, just especially on the effort. I couldn't guard a stick today. Those guys were just going right around me. And, I was getting frustrated a little bit.
Maybe we thought we had it in the bag, but, too many times we let them waltz right down the lane and get layups. I think we just let our foot off the gas, thought we were going to win, and that's a dangerous game to play.
Certainly, Brooklyn needs to figure it out on defense. In the 9 games since the Nets made the Harden trade, opponents have scored 123 points or more 7 of those 9 times. But if I'm the Nets or the Bulls, I wouldn't read too much into either of these games, considering just how rare the outcomes were. Just 9 times out of more than 23,500. Twice in one weekend. I'm going to need more coffee. So, Zach, what did Russ prove to you last night against the Nets?
First of all, props to the graphic department for the Ferris Bueller reference that nobody under 30 will get. I love it. Second of all, Russ proved he's still got something in the tank. And really, although he had been averaging almost a triple-double, his turnovers had spiked. He just hadn't looked good. He almost looked like he had the yips. He was losing his dribble so much. And the Wizards are going nowhere. Yeah, they've been ravaged by the virus and the health and safety protocols. They've had half their team gone. Everyone's coming back. But they're not getting back into the play-in race unless they get peak Russell Westbrook. And one thing I did not expect at this point in the season was for the Rockets to have so handily won the John Wall-Russell Westbrook trade. But that Russ, the Russ that played last night, that changes the Wizards' season. That gives them a little bit of hope. And frankly, that maybe puts any Bradley Beal stuff on the back burner for a while, because that's something that could literally swing the championship picture.
And do you think, Zach, that this kind of Russell Westbrook is someone that we can see for the rest of the season with the Wizards? What changed for him here?
I mean, last night's performance is probably going to be an outlier in terms of its shooting efficiency, the three-point shooting efficiency, all of that. But there's a big, big gap between that guy and the guy who had played the first 12, 15 games, whatever, of the season. If we can meet somewhere in the middle and Russ can just become a steady presence, something like not quite what he was even people forget the last 30 games before the bubble with the Rockets, he was on fire. He was averaging 30 a game, living at the rim. If we can get closer to that guy, the Wizards, if they get healthy, they have a really good offensive team, or at least a skeleton of one. They can get back into the play-in race. It has not gotten away from them.
And after that game, Zach, Scott Brooks said he was going to break out the White Claw. And in fact, he said raspberry was his favorite flavor. I don't know. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, we've just got to be able to do better. I didn't even know what a White Claw was until I moved to the suburbs. And everyone in the suburbs, all my mom friends in the suburbs are all about the White Claw. We have to keep White Claw on hand in case we have visitors. Scotty Brooks, look, I love you, Scotty. Have a